This guy is a wrecking machine, and he's hungry.
All of you chumps are gonna bow. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Bye. Money.
You're listening to The Real Estate Debate with Mr. Credit on AM 760 KFMB. If you'd like to contact Mr. Credit, visit mrcredit.org.
All right, welcome to another very special edition of The Real Estate Debate. And JJ, I was excited the last time we did a live show, 3 weeks ago today, in fact, where we did the charity challenge, the Real Estate Debate charity challenge, our very first one. We raised almost $5,000 for local charities. Today we have another first, our very first Redfin Roundtable.
I did the Redfin rock stars is what I'm going to call them today, because they're all rock stars, and I'm excited about it. I mean, it's a different sort of real estate platform, and excited to hear about it.
It's very different, and it's something that a lot of people don't know about. Now, most people have heard of Redfin.com because, you know, if you go look online for real estate, chances are you're either using Zillow or you're using Redfin, right?
Yep.
Redfin has become the prominent, kind of the leader in that world of searching for homes online for sale, and for good reason, because they have the best platform. But also they're a brokerage, which means that they have real estate agents to serve people's needs who want to buy and sell real estate. And today we have 3 Redfin real estate agents in the studio. We're going to do a Redfin Roundtable. We're going to learn about their model, how it works, why they chose to work for Redfin, and how it's different from the competition. You think you might have any questions for our in-studio guests?
I know I'm going to have some questions. And what's cool is, I mean, they really are rock stars. I mean, they're, you know, you think of Redfin, you think of looking up real estate, but they're closing a lot of transactions. So congratulations to you guys for doing all that.
Absolutely. Let's get familiar with our in-studio guest today, all agents with Redfin.com. This guy is someone you've heard on the show many times before. Jordan Clark is here. He's a former real estate debate champion. He was the first person to defeat Brian DeVore, who has won the real estate debate 5 times. Jordan, what's up, my friend?
Got to get back on there and beat him again. Doing good. Thanks for having me again, Derek.
Yeah, man, it's great to have you here. You're a buyer specialist.
I am a buyer specialist.
So we're going to get a little bit more into kind of how all of that works, but you have kind of a territory that you work in for the most part, right?
Exactly. We try to be as specialized as possible. So I only work with buyers, and I work in the north coastal area of San Diego County. So Encinitas on North is where I work.
Okay. Very, very cool. Well, it's great to have you back on the show. Look forward to talking with you today more about Redfin. We also have Cherie Bray in the studio today. How are you doing, Cherie?
Good. How are you?
Great. This is your first time on the show. Have you ever been on the radio before?
Yes.
Okay. So you're a total pro then.
Oh, a pro.
She's a pro realtor for sure with Redfin.com. Now, you're a listing specialist.
That's correct.
In the central coastal area.
Yes.
So what area is the central coastal?
Basically where Jordan's area ends. I go down the coast down to La Jolla, and then along the 56 corridor, Carmel Valley, and that little quadrant of San Diego.
It's a very good area to be in.
I love it.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's not too many shacks in that area of town. No. In my new hood, Del Mar. You cover that area too, right?
I do.
Okay, very interesting. Well, it's great to have you here today, Cherie.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Look forward to speaking with you more. Also, Willie Wilson is here from Redfin.com. Willie, how you doing, man?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for having me, Derek.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Now, you're a buyer's agent in the same area of specialty as Cherie, right? Central Coastal.
Correct. Yeah, I lead the team that's basically North PB up to Solana Beach and then inland on the 56 corridor.
Okay, that's such an interesting area. What a fun gig to just be working in that area right there.
Oh, absolutely.
So many cool things happening in real estate in that particular, stretch from PB to Solana Beach.
It's a good spot to be.
Right?
I think so.
Not bad. Your office is right.
It is.
In Solana Beach.
Yeah, Solana Beach, yeah.
Via de la Valle and what's that, Jimmy Durante?
Jimmy Durante, yeah.
Yeah, so you guys are right in JJ's hood.
Central Coast.
Central Coast.
San Diego.
Yeah, absolutely. So I should mention my co-host, John Giroux, JJ with Synergy One Lending. JJ, I looked this up yesterday. It'll be 4 years in March that we've been co-hosting the show.
I knew the 4-year mark was coming up. We should go on a date or something like that.
Yeah, we're kind of overdue. We're supposed to do that, I think, once a year maybe instead of every 4 years. But JJ has been my mortgage guru on the show for a long time. You can find out more about him at AskJJNow.com. He's been co-hosting the show for almost 4 years, as we just said, and he'll be asking follow-up color questions today. So, Jordan, let's just start with you. Why Redfin? Why did you choose to work with Redfin instead of being a real estate agent at a normal brokerage?
Well, my story goes back to my family. My family's been in real estate since I was born, and I was raised in that real estate family. I come from Canada, so before I came down to San Diego, never heard of Redfin ever, because Redfin's not in Canada. But I was raised in real estate. I became a real estate agent. I've been working in the business since I was 14, and then when I had a kid, we decided time to go down to better weather.
There
So we
you
came
go.
down here just over 3 years ago, and took a year off. And after a year off, my wife's kind of got tired of me and told me I had to get out of the house and start working again. And so I went out, got my license again down here, and I went out and I started working. And then within the first week, I started hearing Redfin everywhere I went.
The universe just calling to you to go there.
Calling to me. And so I looked up Redfin, and I was like, wow, this is really awesome. Everything I could find online was just amazing about the company. Ended up calling the company, and one thing led to another. And 2 weeks later, I was working at Redfin, and I took a little bit of a leap of faith. I didn't know everything about Redfin, but I knew everything that I had heard was awesome.
Yeah.
And it's one of those places that just every single day I've been here, I've learned more and more new things, and everything's just awesome, and it makes a better place to work. And it's a really nice cohesive environment. And so I get to be a part of making Redfin even more awesomer.
Awesome. Well, that's really cool. I mean, everything I've heard has been good as well. I mean, you do have some people in the marketplace who don't work for Redfin, who are up against you guys, competing with you, who might say something here or there, but of course there's a conflict of interest with their opinion.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean,
right?
you're going to have people. It's just envy. And that's
what I think.
When people are closing a lot of transactions, they tend to be envious. So take it as a compliment.
I would too. Cherie, what's it like to be a Redfin agent?
I have never loved working for a company as much as I love working for Redfin, and I hope I'm here forever. It is such a pleasure to work for a company that you have a team atmosphere. You wake up in the morning, make your cup of coffee, and you look forward to going to work. So on a day-to-day basis, we're busy. We're really busy. I sold 54 houses in 2014. And
wow. That's like more than one a week.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of work. If anyone who doesn't know what it takes to put together a real estate transaction, doing one a week with no break.
But our team atmosphere allows us to specialize in our negotiations, in our contract writing, in those types of things. So we have associate agents that help us out in the field, help relieve us for a little bit of time to specialize in those things. And then we have transaction coordinators that are there to be our support, and they handle kind of the back end paperwork, and we all are very close knit, like a family. So that's one thing that I really love about the company is that.
How many people are on your team, would you say, that kind of facilitate a transaction? You're listing specialists. If someone's listing their home with Redfin.com, which we'll talk about what that means here shortly, but if someone's doing that, it's you, and how many other people are helping them to make that process seamless? So
it's pretty similar on the buy and the list side. You're always going to have your primary agent. So I'm always going to be the face. I'm always going to be the person that they come to. We communicate via text, email, phone. We're a technology-driven company, of course. Right. But as support on the buy side, if they needed help seeing a home, or if I needed help showing one of my listings, we've got 10 to 12 associate agents on each team that are available to get out and get people in homes right away.
Does that cost the customer any extra money to have access to those other agents?
Nope. No extra cost to them for that at all. And then each agent has their own assigned transaction coordinator. So they work. So it's basically two people and then a handful of associate agents that support are always out there.
But then we also have a huge team of engineers behind us that make everything for us simpler and for the client more simpler, and makes the whole experience that much better.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because you're a technology-driven company. So when you go and you look at things like, for example, JJ, we talk about this all the time, the Zestimate.
Yes.
It's like the thing the consumer can't live without is the Zestimate. This thing that if you go now and you look, it's become comical. Go look at the Zestimate on your house. In fact, we'll do this at the break. Just for funsies, let's see what the Zestimate says and what the range is between the low Zestimate and the high Zestimate. But what's funny about this is that, you say, okay, well, a Zestimate, this, that, people look at it, doesn't really mean anything. But Redfin recognized that this is something that people want, so they put it right there on the site. So even though it's Zillow's information, Redfin knows that the customers want to see it. People who are looking for houses want the Zestimate, regardless of, how inaccurate it's been proven to be. People want to see it, so we'll put it there. And that's something that most companies don't have the ability to do.
And we put it right next to the tool that we developed that we think's a little bit better, which is value your own home. And so you get to pick the comparables that you think are comparable to your home because you know your home. And then you're able to see based upon those comparables, what is the reasonable price for your property.
Yeah.
And who knows your home better than the homeowner? Yeah. I mean, sometimes, we all want to inflate our value, but that's okay.
That's typical, right?
It is typical.
You're always going to say, oh, the high value range, right?
That's
if
right.
I'm looking at the Zestimate on my house, well, mine's worth that much. If it was in bad condition, maybe I could see it being worth less.
A little bit, maybe.
Willie, tell us how working for Redfin is different from your perspective.
So this is a story that I've told. It seems like I'm telling it a lot these days, but I enjoy it every time. I was more of a traditional agent broker, represented developers, local home builders in town, and it was my previous broker, who's a good friend of mine. He asked me to list his home in Carlsbad, north of $1 million, and as you can imagine, he figured I just kind of want to stay emotionally away from it, so I'd like you to list the property. So I list the property. Now this was in January of 2013, so this was just about before things really took off.
Okay.
And we were on the market for a few weeks, and we were abundant showings, but no valid offers, no good offers coming through the door. And then a Redfin agent brought an offer. And like we discussed earlier, Derek, I didn't know that Redfin had agents. I thought it was just a really bitchin' cool website. So it was that was news to me in education. But throughout the process, I was really impressed with the business model of Redfin and the integrity of not only the agent that I was dealing with, and I'll give a shout out to my girl Stephanie Walker, who's now an area manager for our market, but she at the time was representing buyers, and so she was her and I did this deal together. But then I learned that they had this support staff, and everybody that I met, there was this common thread, there was this quality about these people. So I was intrigued, to say the least. Finished closing out that deal, and it was the first time in my life that I was ready to move on from builders. I'd been with them for 14 years. So I was looking for something different. And one night I was looking into Redfin online and reading their core values. And I couldn't wait for my wife to wake up the next morning. And I handed her the iPad and I said, read this. Just read these values. What do you think about it? She reads it and she looks at me and she goes, "This is you." And I said, "I know.
And now Willie's wife works with our company too.
And now,
is that right?
Yes, she does. So that's how it all came about.
Wow.
And it was the core values that really lined up so perfectly with my own personal values that it was the second biggest no-brainer of my life. Does anybody want to guess the first no-brainer?
Wife?
Boom, Derek.
Good move.
So, but that is what I say.
Okay.
It's just a no-brainer.
That's awesome, man. Great story. JJ, I'm going to, speaking of shout outs for back in the day, do you remember Sarah Massey?
Yes.
You introduced me to her a long time ago, and I actually met with her, and I never really put together the whole Redfin thing. I never really put it together. I don't remember what our conversation was, but you've done transactions.
Yes.
With Redfin, and I think most agents who have a serious respect for how things get done. They get done smooth, fluidly, quickly, seamlessly. There's always someone to contact and get in touch with, and that seems to be what I've heard. What's your experience been?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's funny. You guys, Redfin has, as we've heard, the team, right? And I think every realtor out there would love to, what they strive to build out over time is that team structure that you guys just walk into and you have on an everyday basis. And that's really invaluable when it comes to the consumer, whether you're selling a home or buying a home, to have that team behind you, somebody to constantly contact, having the first point of contact, but contact along the way in a professional manner. It's just huge.
Yeah, it's extremely crucial for the consumer who a lot of times feels like they're in the dark. It's such an emotional process. Having someone there all the time is really, really helpful. You're listening to the Real Estate Debate on AM 760 KFMB. Coming up on our very first edition of Redfin Roundtable, we're going to talk about local market conditions here in San Diego and give our predictions for the year 2015. Stick around. We'll make you smarter than everyone else.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Debate with Mr. Credit on AM 760 KFMB.
Welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with us on your Sunday afternoon. Mr. Credit here. Very special edition of the Real Estate Debate today, JJ, our very first Redfin Roundtable.
With the rock stars.
With the Redfin rock stars, as you've coined. You might want to trademark that, though, because...
I'll work on that.
So we've got In the studio, Jordan Clark with Redfin.com. He's a buyer specialist in Encinitas, North County. Sheree Bray is in here from Redfin.com. She's a listing specialist in the Central Coastal area. And Willie Wilson is also an agent from Redfin.com in here today as well, who's a buyer's agent in the same Central Coastal area. What I'd like to do is I'd like to start with the list side, if that's okay, just from a seller's standpoint, Sheree, and talk about the local market conditions here in San Diego. We'd had a very strong seller's market for a long time. It seemed like that dipped off. In some areas, it seems like it's coming back. What's your opinion on how things look for sellers right now?
Sure. We had a very strong seller's market for about 2.5 years. I noticed within just a couple weeks over the summer, and summer is typically a good time to list your home. But this summer I saw in July is about when it started to level off. So we were on a very heavy, some areas saw 20 to 30% appreciation, very heavy upward swing. And we've kind of just gone into this level, stabilized market. So as far as the market conditions, I don't think we're in a seller's market anymore. I think we are in maybe an even buyers and sellers market. When we were on that upward swing, homes were selling the first or the second weekend that they hit the market. And now a lot of neighborhoods that I'm pulling comps for my listings, the average marketing time is anywhere between 30 and 45 days. So it's
still really good.
It's still really good. A buyer's market, you're going to see a few months average marketing time. So that's why I'm thinking it's just, a level market between buyers and sellers right now. Redfin runs a real-time market tracker, and it showed that in November, the median sales price was down 1.6% a month over month and up 5.5% year over year. So I think that for sellers, it's going to be very important to price at where the comps are at, as opposed to what we were doing as the homes were appreciating. You'd price, 2 to 3% over what the comps were at, because we were on an upward swing. So in order to sell in that 30 to 45 day time frame, price right where the comps are at. Buyers know that the market isn't where it used to be. They're more savvy, and they have more negotiating power now. So that's what I'm seeing in this market.
You're seeing it level off. Mm-hmm. Willie, what do you think from a buyer's specialist perspective? Do you think that that's true? Is it leveled off and buyers are starting to get some hand here?
There's a little bit of, I guess there's maybe a little bit of a disagreement there.
Okay.
Me spending most of my time every day, all day representing buyers. If I just look at my past 4 deals in the last month, ranging from a condo in Oceanside, in the high 300s up to $1 million house in Poway, every single one of those offers that we got accepted, we were competing against other offers. We were not getting the sellers to throw in anything, to kick in any credits. So to me, that's still a seller's market. The favor's still in their hand.
And I am still seeing that a little bit too. I just sold a property in Del Mar, and we had 5 offers. Jordan actually was one of my offers on that property.
Did you get it, Jordan?
No, I didn't win. Missed out by an inch.
I mean, it sold in 6 days, so there definitely are still those hot homes out there.
So there was a condo that sold for high 300s in Oceanside?
Correct.
Man, the market's high. All right.
That's a great deal to me.
That was a jab. I'm just kidding.
That's a good deal.
Don't take offense, Oceanside. I still love you. I still think it's a great place.
Right across the street from the ocean.
Well,
that's true.
you know what's interesting is what the best thing that I heard out of that whole conversation was that Jordan Redfin had an offer on a Redfin listing and it wasn't accepted out of 5 other offers. So, Redfin is obviously looking out for the best interests of the client.
Oh, nice eyes, JJ. He has an eye, doesn't he?
Incredible.
So Jordan's offer wasn't the best one then. That's what it boils down to, right?
It was close.
It was close, but it wasn't the best one.
Wasn't the best.
So therefore, you don't get it. Sorry, sir.
Exactly. And that's not always the case when I put out offers. I find out that it sold for less than what our offer was on occasion, and sure enough, sometimes it's the listing agent's own offer.
Ah,
right. Yeah. And that's the whole point. I mean, even though sometimes it's not the best offer, it's not the best. It's a dual representation or same office or something like that will get that deal done. In this case, it didn't happen, and I think it's a great sign.
Proof in the pudding. Jordan, what are your thoughts on the current state of the market?
I also disagree with Cherie, but agree with Willie. It is definitely still a seller's market, but yeah, sure, it's not the crazy seller's market that it was 2 years ago. It's just, a normal seller's market. I was looking at the absorption rate, which is to take all the current listings that are on the market right now and use the past couple months of sales data. How long would it take the current inventory to sell at that rate? And so right now it's at about like 2.8 for the entire county.
2.8 months?
2.8 months. So that means no new listings came on. There would be no listings in 2.8 months. And so that's pretty low. And so generally they say balanced market starts, well, economists always vary, but a balanced market will start anywhere between a 4 to 6 month period.
I've heard that too.
So in my opinion, it's definitely, and as you go further into closer to the coast, it's definitely even more of a seller's market. Especially west of the 5, everything's just super hot. And obviously, if you go towards the lower end of any bracket, there's going to be the most amount of demand. So in Carlsbad right now, if there's a listing in $600,000 or $700,000, it's going to be going right away, as long as it's not ridiculously priced.
Yeah, for the house that you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and Carlsbad's a really interesting place. It seems like it's so far, doesn't it? I mean, it seems like it's really, really far from everything, but it's like it's getting closer.
Carlsbad is very big too. I mean, there's a lot of zip codes that make up Carlsbad, so it's a pretty large area.
Which Carlsbad am I talking about?
That's right.
You might be asking me.
And I'd like to put a little.
Carlsbad?
Oh, sorry.
No.
We have in Carlsbad the brand new sign going up soon. It's we got a brand new sign in Carlsbad downtown in the Carlsbad Village, and so now we're not left out. We're not the only city left without its own sign. So now when you arrive in Carlsbad Village,
it'll say welcome to Carlsbad.
It's Carlsbad.
All right, great stuff. All right, coming up on our very first edition of the Redfin Roundtable, you're listening to the Real Estate Debate on AM 760 KFMB. Our predictions for 2015. What's going to happen this year in the real estate market? Stick around. We'll make you smarter than everyone else.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Debate with Mr. Credit on AM 760 KFMB.
Welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with us on your Sunday afternoon. We really appreciate it. Mr. Credit here, your host. My co-host, JJ, John Girotes with Synergy One Lending in the house. Almost 4 years now, JJ, doing our very first Redfin Roundtable today, making the marketplace aware of a very different real estate brokerage that I think most people think is a website. And it's, by the way, in my opinion, it's the best website to look up properties. And a lot of industry professionals share that opinion with me. If you're looking for a house to buy or you want to look at the market, then go to redfin.com. You won't be disappointed. Let's put it that way.
I agree. And it's gonna pop up anyways if you put an address in. You're going to see it.
That's true. Take a look. Let's do some predictions for 2015. Are you cool with that, JJ?
I'm ready for that.
All right, you're going to lead off then. Tell us what's going to happen in 2015. Obviously, we want to know about interest rates, and then also tell us the real estate market.
Well, I think, where interest rates are starting off the year, it's different than traditionally. Normally interest rates start climbing in December, and they kind of keep climbing through the first quarter of the new year. And we've only seen a drop because oil prices have dropped. There's been sell-offs in stock market, bond markets have rallied. And who knows if that's going to continue, but I think it will kick off the new year really strong in the real estate market as long as interest rates stay low. However, I do feel like sometime in the mid-year, when things kind of calm down, the Feds will increase short-term rates, which doesn't affect long-term interest rates, but will affect interest rates, and they'll push up a little bit. And I think that's where we're going to see that dynamic that we saw a year and a half ago, where interest rates kind of went up 1% in the summertime. People kind of panicked and the real estate market got really hot. I think we're going to see a point in time where interest rates start pushing up. Real estate's going to get really hot for a point in time. And maybe by the end of the year, we'll start cooling back down. But we're going to see a panic mode at some point in time in this year. And I think values are going to keep pushing up when that time comes. I think we'll see a pretty even keel until that time.
Okay. Very interesting stuff. That's JJ, John Girotes. We call him JJ. You can go to askjjnow.com. If you haven't checked to see if you can save money by refinancing recently, rates are lower now. And by the way, go to askjjnow.com or call 760-522-2700. 2298. All the people who you heard say, well, interest rates are going to go up, interest rates are going to go up. This is why you should never say that, because you don't know. And that's not necessarily true. Willie, what do you think is going to happen in 2015?
So JJ and I, we have very similar outlooks. I have not seen enough of the variables. I haven't seen any variables change in the last couple of years to produce any kind of different result than what we've seen the last couple of years. In other words, we're still short on inventory. There's still more properties out there, or there's more buyers than there are properties on the market. Interest rates are phenomenally low. It's still a crack up when it even does spike up a little bit, and your clients go, oh boy, like JJ said, uh-oh, we better buy something. It's like, oh no, it's 4.5%.
They're in the fours.
Hunker down, things are going to go crazy. So I think it's going to be a lot like a lot of the same of just the last couple of years. And but I do agree that I think that honeymoon stage of the market, we saw things January 13 just go crazy feeding frenzy. I think we're kind of like on the last end of that honeymoon phase. We're probably wrapping it up, and we're probably headed more towards more of the middle of a just a normal real estate cycle. It's usually 5 to 7 years, and I think we're kind of headed into that midway point, kind of the halftime show.
So you say more of the same for 2015? More
of the same.
Okay. Cherie Bray, what do you think? 2015.
I saw the market slow down a lot this summer, and we were on that frenzy for quite a while. I think going into 2015, I'm seeing a lot of activity start to pick up on the listing side. A lot of people are deciding to list their homes now and going into the spring. The inventory's low. I think there's a lot of buyers out there waiting for more inventory to come on the market, for more selection. And there's also sellers that are waiting for more inventory too, until to hold off on selling their home. But I think we had such an upward swing the last few years that I would expect it to stay relatively stable this year.
When you say stable, do you mean flat, like flat prices?
I would expect somewhere between 3 and 5% appreciation this year, as opposed to the crazy 20 to 30% appreciation that we've seen.
Okay.
So more of like a healthy, little bit of increase over the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So relatively flat, but mostly on the good side for things in 2015. Yeah. Okay. That's Cherie Bray, who's one of the 3 agents with Redfin.com in the studio today. It's the very first Redfin Roundtable edition here on the Real Estate Debate, AM 760 KFMB. Jordan Clark, what do you think? 2015, your predictions. I can't wait.
Deja vu all over again. Last year, we went up 5.5% as a whole county. The nation went up 6.2%. So we were a little bit less than what the nation did. And so I think that's actually going to switch over this year. I think that we're probably going to see about the same amount of gains for a national average, but I think we'll do slightly better than we did against the national average this year. So I'm going to guess that we're going to see somewhere between 7 to 8% gains this year. And we're going to see that push people to other areas that are getting revitalized, like Oceanside. You made a little bit of fun of.
But I gotta say, fun.
Oceanside is becoming cool. Oceanside, every time I drive up and down the 101, there is a new cool restaurant. There's somebody that's really cool and hip that I see there, and maybe it's just my own reflection.
Of cool. I need to get your definition of cool, because I'm picturing something, and I don't know if it's the same thing you're picturing or not.
My own reflection? No.
there are some great restaurants that have been open in Oceanside. I mean, one of the best well-known brewers in San Diego opened a new brewery restaurant up there. So I mean, people will notice that and flock to it.
Yeah, but the really best deal this year is any property in Russia. That ruble is so cheap. You can get some good deals out there.
Yeah, that's a great place to buy real estate. We're in San Diego. And by the way, I did poke fun of Oceanside earlier, so you are correct to call me out on that. But JJ, if you remember, a couple of years ago, I called Oceanside as my best value.
Definitely.
So I did call Oceanside a couple of years ago as being the place to go if you wanted the best opportunity. When we do these segments, sometimes we talk about where it's the best opportunity. And Oceanside was my pick for the year to be a good place to buy, because at that point prices were a lot lower there. Right. A couple of years ago. They've come up quite a bit since then, and rightfully so. I mean, Oceanside, I always picture, you guys remember the movie Coming to America?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How they picked where they were going, spun the globe, and like, oh, Queens. Well, think about it. I mean, there's a lot of foreign money that comes into Southern California, and really just California in general, from San Francisco all the way down to Southern California. When people are picking places to live from across the globe, they look and see Oceanside. That's where I want to go. You know, it's much cheaper. It's right next to San Diego. Anyway, so I think Oceanside is a place that has a chance to still continue to run. My prediction for 2015 is a little bit gloomier than everyone else's. I don't think we can have appreciation again this year. And actually, I think it would be healthier if we didn't, because we've got a lot of gains that we need to give back at some point. When we start touching the all-time highs, even though the median income is 10% lower than it was at the time of the all-time highs, something isn't right. And I don't know what it is, but I do know this. When oil is getting crushed the way that it is right now, that is a sign that something is bad in the macroeconomic world. Don't know what it is, and everyone's guessing, but when oil goes down, when the demand for oil goes down that much, remember, oil is how we get stuff everywhere. The big freighters in the ocean, the big trucks, the big planes, it's oil. Okay, that's how stuff moves around. And when that goes down, when demand for that goes down, when the price gets this low, and the Southwest Airlines and the big freighter companies aren't going in there and buying every barrel they can, then that tells me that something's wrong that we don't know about. Now, San Diego will be less affected than other areas of the country, no question. And we might even be flat this year. It's possible. But I think we'll see somewhere between a 5 and 10% price decline, which won't be bad. It won't be a panic. There's tons of buyers who are ready to pull the trigger, who are right there. And if we see any kind of a hint that there's a buyer's market taking place, those buyers, myself included, will jump in and pull the trigger. Anyone want to comment on that?
I'll place a bet on that.
You want to bet on it?
I want to bet on that.
Yes. Okay. What do you want to bet?
I don't know. Got a good idea?
How about
Burrito
lunch? A lunch.
Burrito bet.
Lunch. Yeah.
Burrito bet. Okay. So what's the bet then? Because you said 7 to 8%.
7 to 8 up,
and
you said 5 to 7 down.
Okay. So we'll say if it's up at all,
Yeah.
you win.
Yes.
And if it's down at all, I win.
Deal.
Fair.
Meet you here next year.
Okay. Cool. That's bet number one. Anybody else?
I won't take a bet on it, but I will say something. You know, it's interesting you mentioned oil. And, you know, if oil continues the low price down, I mean, we you know, a lot of people talk about affordability and a lot of people talk about San Diego, how it's become not as affordable as it once was a few years ago because the home prices have gone up. If oil stays down, interest rates are probably going to stay down. Think of the money in the pocket at home. I mean, I know for a fact that our household right now is saving about $400 a month in gasoline. That, you know, from an when I'm now a buyer, I have more working cash flow. I'm feeling a little bit more positive to pull the trigger to buy a home.
I want to take my bet back.
But what you did say did bring up a good thing that I was thinking about. I think that international buyers are going to be down this year as a result of the lower gas prices, which means that their dollars are falling everywhere else in comparison to the American dollar, making our real estate even that much more expensive.
Is it making it more expensive?
Yeah.
Okay.
The euro to the American dollar is $1.18 right now.
That's true. Yeah. I had to experience that in Italy recently.
It's awesome. 9-year low.
Very good point, JJ. And that's also the other side of the coin, right? Is if we're putting all this money back into buyers' pockets, where's it going to go?
Right.
Is it going to go to those nice restaurants in Oceanside? Is it going to go?
New iPhones?
Is it going to go? Yeah. Where's it going to go? Because is it enough to make a difference in the real estate market? It's very, very interesting to see if that'll be the case. Time will tell. We've all put our chips in the middle of the table. Coming up on our very first edition of Redfin Roundtable here on the Real Estate Debate, AM 760 KFMB. We've talked about what's different about Redfin.com. We've told you that they have agents. We've told you about how seamless their process is. Now let's get down to brass tacks. How much money can you save by using Redfin? Stick around. We'll make you smarter than everyone else.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Debate with Mr. Credit on AM 760 KFMB.
Welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with us on your Sunday afternoon. Mr. Credit here, your host. You're listening to the Real Estate Debate, a very special edition of the Real Estate Debate. Today, as we're doing our very first Redfin Roundtable, we have 3 agents from Redfin.com in the studio today: Jordan Clark, Cherie Bray, and Willie Wilson. Also, my co-host, John Giroux, JJ with Synergy One Lending, is here. And as he mentioned earlier, interest rates have gone lower. So all the people who said interest rates are going to go up next year, interest rates are going to go up, they have not. In fact, they have gone lower. If you couldn't save money before, you could potentially save money now. Go to AskJJNow.com or call 760-522-2727. $22.98. Don't leave any money on the table this year. So what we'd like to figure out, we've talked a lot about Redfin.com and how it's different from a traditional brokerage structure today. I'd like to kind of get down to the brass tacks for listeners out there or users of Redfin.com, specifically, not just the operational standpoint, but how much money can someone save if they use Redfin.com or an agent from Redfin.com? So, Willie, I'd like for you to start first on the buy side. So if I'm a buyer and I'm buying a house and I'm using Redfin, what am I getting and what's it costing me?
So we make it real easy for our customers when they're online and they're searching properties. Just to the right of the properties, we call it the listing details page. So if you're looking at a specific home, say for instance in Carmel Valley, to the right of it, you're going to see a picture of myself or another agent that works in that territory. And just next to us or just below us, you'll actually see the refund that we will give back to you. So Redfin shares a portion of the commission back to the client. Now, it's an algorithm that we don't exactly know how they came up with it, and that's by design. They don't want us to know. But the bottom line is that when you're looking at that property now, the day that you write an offer on that property, that refund will stand. Now, if you negotiate the price down, which that's our job and that's what we're going to do for you, that does not change or affect that refund. So it stays the same the day that you write the offer.
So if you buy a house with a Redfin agent, then you get a refund of the buyer, the person, the home buyer, gets a refund at closing?
Correct. So you can either use it as a credit towards closing costs, or you can have a refund just sent, a check directly sent to you, tax-free. Uncle Sam doesn't get any of it. It'll be delivered to you about 2 weeks after you close escrow. So to me, when I brag about Redfin, that is just the cherry on the top.
JJ, could you use a refund like that to buy your rate down?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's coming from essentially the real estate company. And it's an agent credit, which is very similar to like a seller credit,
okay,
or a lender credit, and you can combine those credits. I mean, maybe you negotiate a credit from the seller as well, and you have a credit coming from Redfin. Those can be combined, and maybe there's a lender credit too. So you could essentially, cover a lot of closing costs with those credits.
And a lot of our clients use it for renovations as well, because you can get it as a check after close.
Tax-free.
Yeah. Tax-free.
And it's thousands of dollars, not just a couple hundred here or there. It's a lot.
Well, I've noticed on the website that it always tells you. So, if you're looking at a property, it'll say, and maybe there's an asterisk that said this might not be exactly right, but it says, commission refund on this property is this much money. And sometimes it's $9,000. I mean, sometimes it's very, very big, depending upon how expensive the property is.
Well, just pulled up one property here on our site in Carlsbad. $564,900 is the list price. If you purchase that property with Redfin, you'd get $4,656 back.
Okay. So there you go. So it almost kind of works out to be like a percent-ish.
It ranges.
Yes. But it's ish, a percent. I think that's kind of the math I came up with. I know there's a difficult algorithm involved, Willie, but
we'll go with that, Derek.
It's a percent-ish. Let's say that. Okay. So from the buy side, you get a commission refund. That obviously right there is something that's unique to the marketplace, and you could put money in your pocket right away. Huge benefit. What about the sell side, Sheree? What do you get if you're a homeowner who wants to sell their property and you use a Redfin.com agent?
So on the sell side, it's different. It is 1%. So, 1 to 1.5%, depending on what agent you're talking to. We charge 1.5% to list your home. Okay. Most traditional agents are going to charge between 2.5% and 3%.
Okay.
So, we recommend offering a buyer's agent the market standard 2.5%. So your total commission paid comes out to 4%, as opposed to a 5 or 6% that most traditional agents are going to charge.
Okay, and so that basically will reflect on the HUD at the bottom. When you're on the sell side of the HUD.
No, it's your listing agreement up front.
Okay. So the money will come to you via the HUD on the seller side, right? Because you're not going to get a check back.
Yeah. At closing is when you get your lump sum. On the sell side, you'll just pay less in the commission on the HUD.
Right.
So that's more money in your pocket
to buy the next home.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And I mean, what you get for that, you're not getting a discounted brokerage. You're getting everything that a traditional agent is going to offer you and more. We have a back-end dashboard for our sellers that's very unique. They can log on at any time. They can see how many people have looked at their home total, how many people have looked in the last 24 hours, if there's an upcoming open house, how their listing's performing compared to other listings on the market, all the different marketing things that we've done to market their home, such as printing out flyers, delivering lock boxes, putting up signs, listing them on multiple websites, truly a Realtor.com, Zillow, the local MLS, all the different things that we're doing. So it's kind of a real-time place that they can go to see what we're doing to sell their home. So it's keeping us transparent with our sellers.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me you have like an accountability dashboard?
That's exactly what it is.
That's very interesting. I've never heard of that before. Jordan, you've probably told me this before. I'm sorry if I forgot. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
So for the person who's listing their home, they're able to log in to the website, which they have their own unique login. They can see
what we're doing to sell their home, which is really neat because that's a question that comes up all the time. What are you doing to sell my house? I've gotten sellers that have canceled with their agent because their agent never communicated with them. They never knew what was really going on. So one other notable feature that we offer our clients in that fee, professional photos. We believe professional photos help sell your home quicker and for more money. And so we pay for that up front for our sellers. Then we also have a new, it's called a 3D scan with a company called Matterport. Redfin teamed up with them and they built us these special cameras. We have just a few agents that are licensed to use them here in San Diego. And what it is it's like kind of like a Google Street View of a house. You can actually go through and see the house in person. It kind of jumps you forward each circle. It's more than just a virtual tour of photos sliding. You're actually walking through the house.
I've always been disappointed with those virtual tours, right?
Yeah.
You like expect.
They're usually just slideshows.
Yeah, it's a slideshow, or they're like zooming in on the picture. I don't need you to zoom in on the picture,
Yeah.
What's it called? Matterport?
It's Matterport, and we advertise it as a 3D scan. So you can actually physically walk through the house virtually. And it's just in each room you can turn, look at the ceiling, look at the floor. And that's something that technology that traditional agents don't have. So
I have seen this on one house.
It's only on Redfin listings.
Yeah.
So it must have been one of ours.
I saw it on Redfin.com. And it really does work like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long it takes someone to go in and take the pictures that make this possible. But literally think about it like you're on Google Street View and you are going from dot to dot and you keep clicking the dot, moving around. You do the same thing in the house. So you click on the dot right in front of the bathroom, then you walk right in front of the bathroom. And there's a dot in the bathroom. You click that dot, you go in the bathroom. And you can turn around, you can look around in the bathroom, and you can literally tour a house.
Yes.
It's an actual virtual tour.
Yeah.
It's
about a 2 to 4 hour scan depending on the size of the home, but that's a very expensive camera, and it's going to take a while for that to get out in the population. Agents aren't going to be able to afford this technology, and that's what we are. We're a technology company.
True.
So
Very
we're
cool.
Putting everything in favor of our clients.
And I have my house listed right now with Redfin.
You do?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm in escrow.
It'd be weird
Took
if you
6
didn't
days.
list it with Redfin, right?
Yeah. But I can tell you, it's a tenanted property. And so we all know tenanted property is impossible to show because trying to get tenants to cooperate with showings constantly is really tough. So having this 3D scan was awesome. Anybody that wanted to see it, I just go, here, take a look at this. And they're like, oh my God, wow, it's like I'm touring the property. I'm walking through it. So obviously they still want to see the property, but this got through probably 10 times more people than I would have been able to otherwise if I always had to schedule tours with my tenants. And it was able to weed out the people that it didn't work for.
Yeah.
Because they were able to see it. And then for the 20% of the people that needed to see it firsthand, they were able to get in because it was much easier to get in those 20%. And also, I was worried because there wasn't many comparables for my property. I didn't know if I was pricing my property really well. And so that seller dashboard, as soon as it was on the market, I checked back 24 hours later, And sure enough, my stats were twice what the average was.
It's addictive. My sellers are addicted to it. They look at it all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, stats, you mean people were looking at your property. You can tell how many people have seen your property?
And how many people favorited it. And it was like twice to 3 times the market average. And so I'm like, yes, I got it right.
That's awesome stuff.
I mean, I tell you, it's so unique. And this is the reason why we wanted to do this show and do future shows. We're calling them the Redfin Roundtable. We've got 3 agents from Redfin.com in the studio today. Jordan Clark, Cherie Bray, and Willie Wilson are here. And I just want to say thank you to you guys for coming in today and sharing all of this knowledge. A lot of people don't know about this company. It's not new by any means, but you guys have grown organically and you haven't kind of been out there. You know, you're not the billboard company. You know, you're the internet online company. You've got an unbelievable website for searching properties. And I really thank you all for coming in today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, fantastic. Look forward to future Redfin Roundtables as well. JJ, did you learn anything today?
I did. I think I'm thoroughly impressed. I was impressed the first time I went into a transaction with Redfin, and you can just tell. I mean, you guys are closing a lot of transactions out there. I think that's the key takeaway for people to know is that you guys are doing a lot of transactions. So
and
they get better
easy.
and better and better.
Yeah, you have more plate appearances. You can continue to improve. And from a website standpoint, there isn't a better one to search properties, redfin.com. All right, coming up, stick around for Talking Money with Mr. C right here on AM 760 KFMB. We're going to keep the real estate discussion going. I'll tell you what kind of house I'm looking for when we come back.